have taken a example as a account transaction cash we have taken. So after identifying these as a different types of classes, we had categorized into good and a bad classes. So for a good class, we can take an example like account, cashier station, central computer, consortium, customer, and the transaction. So these are the some of the examples of a good class name, that how we can keep them alert. So based on this, uh, good and a bad classes, we have a description here why we have taken it as a redundant class, why we are taking it as a redundant class or a irrelevant class or vague classes. So when it comes for a irrelevant redundant class, say for example, it can be based on a concept. So when we are taking for a based on a concept, so if a passenger wants to fly for some other place, uh, so he can make a reservation. So sometimes we call him as a customer. So when you are taking a classification of a class, so you can specify as a customer and a passenger. So when it comes for a customer, it may not be so relevant for a airline reservation, but whereas when you are taking a passenger, it can be a more descriptive. So when you say a passenger, you can get the details of the passenger. So from where to where the passenger is going to fly, on which date, on which flight. So all these details can be collected rightly. Whereas if you give a class name as a customer, so how you can relate that to the airline reservation system? Customer can be anything. So rather than customer, passenger can be a right name of a class. So in that way, we need to be selective for identifying the name of a class. Next thing is irrelevant class. So when we say a irrelevant class, so it may be helpful for using in a problem domain, or it may not be helpful at all. Say for example, where we had taken an irrelevant class as a cost. Cost is outside the scope of the ATM. That means when you want to purchase a particular item, there you are suggesting as a cost. But when you are dealing with respect to the ATM, the cash can be a relevant word to the ATM. So cost is outside the scope. So where you are not including that cost in as a name of a class. So when it comes for a vague classes, vague class indicates, so it can be too broaden. So when your domain becomes too broaden, so the system becomes a complex. We need to narrow down the scope of the system. So to narrow down the scope of the system, or whichever the names of the class are there, which are too vague or too broad scope are there, so those types of names of the class has to be eliminated. Though we have listed the tentative class name, so what happens? It may not be very specific to the class. Say for example, security provision or record keeping is a vague. So when you say a record keeping indicates the transaction that a particular customer is going to make in a ATM or in a manual banking. So when it comes for a ATM, when a customer wants to make a transaction, it depends on in which ATM station that a customer is making the transaction, where he is making a withdrawal. So all these things has to be recorded, and that has to be recorded in bank consortium and as well as in his own bank. So the record keeping will become a vague. So we need to try to eliminate these kind of names of the class. Next is the attributes. So we need to identify which is an attribute, which is a name of a class, because attribute says the gives the description of the individual properties, how it is going to behave in that particular class. So we need to classify whether that particular name, whatever we have taken, so whether it is an attribute or whether it is a class name. So if it describes any properties, then we are identifying that as a attribute. So those kind of attributes should not be included as a name of a class. We need to try to eliminate that as a names of a class. So here is an example for a ATM case study where we are taking the account data. Account data has a name of a class. So when we are taking account data has a name of a class, so what happens? It describes what is the type of a data. Whether the account, when you say account data, so the account data can be of two classifications. Either the account belongs to the savings account or the account belongs to the current account. So depending upon that, so from which account that the customer has made a transaction. So it becomes a unspecified. It cannot be taken into the consideration. So account data will become a property of an account class. So where it describes also how the transaction from which account that a transaction has to be performed. So that's the reason that we need to have a clear idea whether the it is an attribute or whether it is a name of a class. So next thing is operation. So when we consider a class static model, we have a name of a class, attribute, and a operation. So when we are going to have a operation, again the operation cannot be a name of a class. So it describes what are the different operations that has to be applied on a particular object. So when you are performing any operation on a particular object, so how that object is being manipulated, what are the different types of result that we are trying to get. So once the object is being manipulated, so how the behavior of the system is going to work, that has to be classified. So it should not be a, the name of the operation cannot be a name of a class. Say for example, you cannot give a operation if you say deposit or a withdrawal, those things cannot be a name of a class because deposit, operation, transfer, all these things will come under a transaction class. What are the different operations that are performed under the transaction? So these things cannot become a name of a class. When it comes for our roles, we know that when we are trying to write a class diagram, so on each association end name, so it has a association end name which identify what is the name of that particular end of the association. When we are taking this, so it should not actually play the role of an association, but actually it should reflect what it is, what is what is the actual way of considering the class name. So if you take a person and a company, on a person side you can have a association and name as an employee. So employee cannot be a role of cannot play a role, but it describes he is an what he is going to play in the, what he is going to what is his role in a company. So to identify that particular nature, what we need to do, we need to identify whether it is a we need to indicate the role of we need to indicate the role in a class name. So next thing is implementation construct. So when it comes for our implementation construct, we need to eliminate all the we need to eliminate all the constructs from the analysis model that are extraneous to the real world. That means whatever the implementation details are there, so those implementation details should not be included, or that should not become a name of a class. Say for example, if you are taking up any particular process name or subroutine name, all these things will become as an implementation. That means you are saying how you are trying to solve the problem by using a particular algorithm or by implementing a particular process or particular protocol or a subroutine. So those things will become a implementation construct. So that has that has to be eliminated. So those kind of names has to be eliminated. So here when it comes for a implementation, access, communication line, software, all these words, keywords will be taken as an implementation concept. So you those type of class name has to be eliminated. So next thing is derived class. So we can also include a concept of generalization when we are trying to include a when we are trying to model the class. So we need to identify what are the different derived class names that can be extracted from a super class name. So those specific class name has to be identified, and those names of the class has to be eliminated. So next thing is preparing a data dictionary. Data dictionary is nothing but a describing the um, uh, de- describing describing the other data. So how do we describe a particular data? Say for example, if we are taking the AI, when we are taking the ATM as a case study, so what are the data dictionary that can be prepared for a ATM class? So we don't know what are the different class names that we have taken. Say it can be a bank, bank consortium, security, remote transaction, transaction details. So all those things will be taken as the names of a class. So when we have identified this as a class name, we need to describe the data. So what it is going to perform. Why? Because so whenever we are trying to model any system, so the description giving the description of data becomes necessary, because any updation after a few years has to be performed if the other people who are working under a same problem statement should know what is the existing system. To know or to gather the information about existing system, we need to have a data we need to create a data dictionary which describes about the data. So here what we are trying to identify, whatever the list of the class names that we have identified, all these words will be isolated. So since we have considered it as a isolated words, so we need to have a too many interpretation. So how we are trying to model it with respect to the system. So when we say a data dictionary, so we need to have a written statement about a paragraph of each class, whatever the names of the class that you are trying to consider. So for all the names of the class, you need to have a description so that it gives a clear idea. So what that particular class is going to have. So how it is going to behave. What are the transactions or what operations are being included in that particular uh, class, that has to be identified. What are the different assumptions, what are the restrictions that has to be included in a current problem. So how we are trying to make an assumption, all these details has to be included when we are trying to prepare a data dictionary. So here is an example of a some of the example how we are taking the data dictionary for a ATM class. So when you say a so account is the name of a class. So for this account, what we can have, a person can have a single account in a particular bank. So he can perform a transaction based on a account. So he can have a different types of account. So either the customer can have a checking account, or he can have a savings account. Depending upon the account availability in his bank, he can perform by using that particular type of account. So that is how we are trying to give a description. So next thing is ATM. So when you say our ATM has a class, so what that particular ATM class is going to perform. So how we can describe. So we know that ATM is a machine, or we can say ATM is deployed under a particular station. So where it allows the transaction, where it allows the different customer to perform a transaction using the cash cards. So cash cards are nothing but your debit cards. So based on a debit card, so it is going to identify the customer. So once the customer is going to interact with the ATM machine, so what happens that so it will gather all the information about the customer. It will send the information to it will send the information to the central computer for validation. So once the customer is been identified, then what happens? It will allow for a further processing, and whatever the cash that is being requested by the um, customer, those cash will be dispensed to the user. So that is what the ATM is going to do. So next we have a bank. So how do we describe a bank? We can say it is a financial institution which carries a different types of accounts. It performs a different transaction. It will identify the customer. It will give an access to the cash cards, and once the cash card is issued to the customer can make a transaction using this cash card over any ATM network. So that is how we are trying to describe a bank. Next, what we have a cash card. So when you say a cash card, it is nothing but your debit card that we are specifying in our ATM has a cash card where the debit card are used for making a transaction. So here when you say a cash card is being assigned to the bank customer. So what happens? That will be authorized by the bank, and the cash card contains information. So what type of information that a cash card consists? It consists of bank code and a card number. So by using the bank code, our transaction can be performed on any ATM machine. So these bank code are uniquely identified, or you can call it as in terms of the DBMS, we can call the bank code as a primary key which uniquely identifies the bank within a consortium. Because when you say a central consortium, it is combined of all the different available banks and different branches. So combining all the bank branches throughout the world, throughout the country, it will become a consortium. So that has to be identified. So how do we identify that this card belongs to a particular bank and a particular branch? Through the bank code. So that is how the we are trying to give a description of a cash card. Okay, so next, so just I have included some of the example. So there are some more example like cashier station. So the cashier indicates that employee of a bank who deals with the transaction uh, which accepts and dispenses the cashes. Next, cashier station indicates that it is a station on which the cashier enters the transaction about the customer. So whatever the cash that has been dispensed from the station, so those things will be taken care by the cashier station. Next, we have a central computer. So when it comes for a central computer, a computer will be operated by the different consortium which will dispatch the transaction between the ATM and the bank computers. That means from which bank that a customer, say for example, if I'm having an account in a SBI bank, I can make a transaction from a syndicate bank. So when I'm making a transaction from a syndicate bank, I need to when I'm making a transaction from a syndicate bank, what we need to do, we need to indicate from which bank code that a transaction is being made. So through the bank code, it will be identified whatever the transaction that has been made. So that will be updated to the central computer. From the central computer, it will be sent to the bank ATM. Next thing is consortium. So from the consortium, what we have, we need to have a organization of how the bank transaction is being made from the different ATM networks. So all this network transaction will be handled. So next thing is customer. So the customer indicates he can have a one or two accounts in a bank. So how the customer is making a transaction? What are the different transaction that a customer is being? What are the different transaction is making? All these details has to be carried out. Next thing is a transaction. So what are the different transaction when whether he has made a cash or check transaction, all these details will be entered in term in a, all these descriptions will be entered. So that is how we are preparing a data dictionary for each and every class, whatever the class model that we have prepared. So in the next, after identifying all the names of the classes and describing all the class, after preparing the data dictionary of all the classes, next thing is we need to relate the classes. So how do we relate the each and every class? So each and every classes are being related by using the association. So next thing is we need to identify the association. Uh, so here, when we want to find a association, we need to relate. We need to give a structural relationship between two or more classes. So how do we prepare a two? How do we create a association between two or more classes? So by having the reference from one class to the another class by using the association. So this association shows a relationship between any two or more classes, which gives the abstraction of the classes. So what are the different objects that we can have for a particular classes? So whether there is a dependency on other classes or whether it is a two-way in a nature. So all these things has to be identified. So other than that, we need to provide a name of a association. So when we say a association name, so upon this association name correspond to the static verbs or verb phrases. So here it depends upon different types of association. So either it can be classified as a physical location. So when you are specifying it with respect to the physical location, so you can say that next to or a part of or containing. So these are the examples that we can take for a physical location. Next, what we have a communication. So next we have, when we say a communication, the communication indicates a talks to. That means a person talks to a another person. So in that way, we can provide a name of association. Next, ownership. So when you say a physical entity like a vehicle or um, any property. So you can say the owner and the property name. So you can have a person is the owner of that particular property like a car or a vehicle. Next, satisfying the condition. So for satisfying the condition, we can have an examples like works for or managers. So when you say a boss manages different types of workers. So that is how we can take a different examples based on the verb phrases. We need to frame the name of a association. So next thing is keeping the right association. So when you are trying to list the different names of an association, so we need to identify the spurious name of the association, or we need to identify what are the different ways to keep the right association. So the first thing is association between the eliminated class. So whatever the classes that you have listed. So if you have eliminated those classes, so what about their association? So we need to try to eliminate those association, and we need to restate it in terms of the other classes. So if you have a spurious name of a class, either it can be a weak class or a irrelevant class, redundant class. So if you have eliminated those classes and if you have eliminated, so then what about their association? So those association should also be eliminated, or you need to provide a other name of a class, and you need to rename the association. In that way we need to eliminate the association between a eliminated class. So here is an example. So we can eliminate the banking network includes a cashier station and a ATM. So when it disposes a when the ATM machine dispenses a cashes, it prints the receipt and it updates in a banking software. So we say that record keeping. So record keeping comes under a vague classes. So record keeping and a system provides a security. So the security is a broad classes. So when we are trying to eliminate those two classes, so we need to eliminate the association between the classes, whatever the association that we have considered. So next thing is irrelevant or implementation classes. So when we say irrelevant or implementation classes, so whatever the say we had taken a cost as a irrelevant class. So when we have eliminated, when we have identified those as a irrelevant name of a class, so whatever the association with respect to that irrelevant classes are there, so those has to be taken outside the problem domain or outside the implementation concept. Say for example, system handles a current access is an implementation concept. So we are trying to identify how the system can be accessed. So in what way the system provides services. All these things will be identified. So those has to be identified, and that has to be modeled in a proper way. And next thing is action. We need to identify what are the different events that will be carried out with respect to the problem domain. So based on the transaction of an event or transient of an event, we need to identify. We need to express those events in terms of action. Say for example, when you say when we are taking ATM as an example. So for making a transaction in a ATM station, what we require is we need to have a cash card. So when we say a cash card, this cash card describes a this cash card will be taken as a card. So where with respect to the cash card, it will give the interaction between a machine and the customer. So once the machine accepts all the details of the customer, so now the customer will be not interacted with the ATM machine. But in turn, what does the ATM will do? The ATM machine will interact with the bank consortium. So it will have an access of all the details of the customer. It will validate whether the customer is an authorized person. So if he is an authorized person, so the further transaction will be carried out. So that is what the action says. So next thing is ternary association. So in a chapter 4, I have explained different types of association, either a binary association, ternary association, or a n-array association. So we can have more than 2 or 3, we can have an association between more than 2 classes. So when we say a association between 2 or more classes, so that we are treating as a ternary association. So when we are using a ternary association, we can also use a qualified association. So where we can have a complete pure descriptive of a association. So these association can be in terms of attributes or it can be in terms of a binary association. So when we say a association, when we are taking an example as a company and a person, where we are identifying works for as a association between a person and a company. So when we are looking in perspective of a company pays a salary to a person, can be phrased. So when we are looking in terms of a company, so a person can be an employer with respect to a company. But whereas when you are looking a company in terms of a person, a company is an employer. So in that way we are trying to indicate, that is the perception that how we are looking for a class model. So next what we have is we have a derived association. So when we say a derived association, so that association can be a derived from a parent, it can be a grandparent of a association. So here is an example. So earlier I had taken only an example of a company and a person. So the company employs a person. So one company employs a n number of person, where this person will become a employee and the company will become a employer. So other than that, what we can include, if we are trying to include one more class between these two classes, so what happens? So this class is for this class we are taking it as a derived association. So when you are including another class called as a computer, so what happens? So one company can own a n number of computers. So uh, here what happens? Company owns a computer. So once the company takes over the purchases a computer, then what it will do? It will assign a laptop or a computer to their individual employee. So here what we can, how do we relate a computer and a person? So the computer is being assigned to the person. That means n number of computers will be assigned to the one or 0 to 1 person. So there can be n number of persons. So either all these computers will be assigned as a one or two computers. So that is how we are taking it as a derived association. So next thing is misnamed association. So sometimes whatever the association name that we are providing with respect to a class model, so it can be a mistake or it can be a misunderstanding between the two different classes. So while preparing the naming of a association, we should ensure that it should be a proper way of providing the association. Associate. Next, we have a association end name. So when we say a association end name, so we need to have a proper ending between the association end. So as I said, a company is an employer with respect to a person, whereas and person is an employee with respect to a company. So that is how we are trying to identify in what way the perspective with one class to the other class that the association end name is going to provide. Next, what we have a qualified association. So when we say a qualified association, in a qualified association, we are taking a qualifier. We are taking a qualifier as an attribute. So when we are taking a qualifier as an attribute um, with respect to the qualified association, so what we are indicating, we are trying to indicate the whatever the names are there. Say for example, if we are taking a bank code has a qualifier by using a bank code, so we can identify for which bank that a customer belongs to, from which bank branch the customer is making a transaction that has to be identified. So here bank code can be a qualifier with respect to the different bank consortium where we can easily identify the bank name and a branch. So there we are trying to indicate a qualifier. So next, what we are using the multiplicity. So the multiplicity indicates the number of instances that we are trying to indicate how much of participation is being taken care. So we need to specify the multiplicity. So when we are specifying the multiplicity, so we should not put too much of effort while indicating the multiplicity. We need to have often changes during the analysis, that is number of participation. Either it can be a 0 to 1 participation, or it can be many to many participation that has to be rightly accepted. Next, next thing is missing association. So we need to identify whenever a class is being modeled, we need to identify so whether there are any missing association between the classes. So that has to be identified. Say for example, if you are having a transaction entered on a cashier transaction, customer has an account. So the transaction, cashier station, and the customer and the account has to be associated. So how we are trying to give a association? We need to try to rectify whether all these classes is being connected, is being related or not. That has to be discovered. Next, we have a aggregation. So aggregation indicates combining of all. Usually we are using this concept of aggregation in terms of a whole part. That means when you are having a, usually we can use for the mechanical part. So I gave an example of a car. So the we have a car class, and we have a different other classes like engine, wheel, accelerator, right? So all these things will be when you combine all these three things, so you can identify that a particular object has a car. So we can identify the aggregation. So when you say a bank consort in a ATM class, we can have a for a bank consortium and a banking network, we can make a use of aggregation. So where the bank central consortium or banking consortium is being made up of different banks. So that is how we are trying to give a relationship between different classes that has to be identified. That means we need to identify when the concept of aggregation and the composition and generalization has to be indicated. So what is the necessity of using the aggregation while we are indicating the relationship between any two classes? So aggregation is also a type of association. So in what way this aggregation can be helpful, that has to be identified. So this is a initial class diagram of a ATM case study. So for this ATM case study, what we are using, we are trying to use a consortium, central bank, and we are using a ATM as a class. So here what happens, we have a different classes. So here we have for a bank consortium to identify, we have used a qualifier attribute as a bank code, and this consortium is an aggregation of banks. So here what is the type of association? We are taking the type of association as a consists of, that means this bank consortium is being made up of different banks. So this bank has a holds a account. That means the bank is being the bank consists of a different accounts, and these accounts has a customers. That means bank has a customer. We are trying to relate a customer and a bank. So to relate between a customer and a bank, the customer should have a account with respect to that particular bank. So next what we have, this consortium owns a central computer. So when you say a central computer, So this central computer can communicate with the bank computer. So when it communicates with the bank computer, so that bank computer should own a bank. It should the bank should own its own banking computer. So similarly, the bank should own a cashier station. So in each and every bank, there should be a cashier station. And to maintain that cashier station, what we need to have, the bank employs a cashier. So when a cashier is being whatever the transaction that a customer is going to perform, so that transaction has to be those transaction details has to be entered. So this customer can perform a transaction either by using a cash card. So since we are considering only the ATM, so the customer is going to perform a transaction using a cash card. So when you say a cash card has a one particular class, so that cash card number should be mapped to the individual account of a customer. That means it should have an access to the account. Next, when we say account, so the account should have a concern with respect to the remote transaction. That means since a ATM is being made up of a particular network, so what happens? The whatever the account mapping that has to happen, so that has to be remotely managed. So this account should have a cashier transaction, so that whatever the transaction that has been made, that will be entered to the cashier station. So whatever the remote transaction that will be done, so that will be entered through the ATM. That means whatever the transaction that a customer is going to perform using the ATM station, so that will be entered as a remote transaction, and that will be updated in a particular banking account. So that is how the transaction can be made. So next is finding the attributes. So we know that attributes gives the property data properties for a individual objects. So if you take a class as a polygon, we will say a class property has a width, color, border, all these things will become a properties. So whatever individual objects are that we are trying to identify that has a attributes. So whenever we are taking the attributes, so these attributes usually corresponds to the noun. Say for example, you can say the color of a car, the color of a polygon, filling the polygon, all these things will become properties of a car. So for finding the attributes, we need to keep the right attributes. So for keeping the right attributes, so here there are some list of ways that how to keep the right attribute. So the first thing is a object, qualifier, names, identifiers, attributes on an association, internal values, find details, and discordant attributes and the boolean attributes. So these are the different ways of having different ways that how to keep the right attribute. So the description of all these attributes, how we are keeping the right attributes, I will discuss in a tomorrow class. Any doubts on this? Naina? Preeti?
Yes, ma'am.
Any doubts, ma?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I will be explaining that individual concept tomorrow, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.